Okay, so we can start generating our random level, or at least we can create the objects that we need to generate our random level. Um, in ZigZag, the level is random generated, and it is endless because it's an endless run, of course. But there's something we need to think about when we place these things, because in ZigZag everything is placed to the left of the previous tile or on top of the previous tile. So if we look at it here, can try to add a tile, then I can show you. So we need to create a tile first, and we can create a tile by duplicating our start here, right click and duplicate, and I'm just gonna call this tile for now. So every single tile is very small compared to the start area. The start area is way bigger than the rest of the tiles. So I'm gonna put in some numbers here. I'm just gonna give it a go. Let's say 3, and let's keep it at 6. That's fine, and C is just gonna be 3 as well. So let's see. Yeah, I guess that's okay. Let's try to take it here and place it here. Yeah, for me that looks kind of okay. We can always make them smaller if anything, but for now I think it looks quite alright if compared to size. I can try to run over there. Yeah, that looks fine for size. So what I was saying, when we have a tile, the next tile, if we duplicate this, is either placed like this next to the previous tile, or it is placed like this on top of the previous tile. So we need to get these what is it called, these points here, so that we know where to place the next tile. So we could do this the hard way and calculate, like take the position here and figure out how the width and the height of this object here, and then calculate where to place the next object and so on. And every time we place an object, we need to calculate these points in our game world, and that takes a little more on the CPU, I guess, if you have to calculate that every time you place a new tile. So what I want to do is that I want to place some anchor points on my tiles that I can use to place the next tile. And these anchor points are basically just going to be empty game objects. So basically we're going to have two different kinds of tiles. We're going to use one type of tile when we place it on top of the other, and we're going to use another type of tile when we place it to the left of it, because of these anchor points here. You'll see later when we start placing them, because to avoid one tile being placed like this, well, then we need two different tiles when we place them. It will make more sense when we start doing it. So let's add these anchor points, and these anchor points are just going to be points in our world, so we just need two empty game objects. So I can click create, and then I can select create empty, and this is going to be one of my anchor points, and I can just double click on it, or click F2, and then I can call this lift attach point. So this is my lift attach point, which means that this is the point that I need to use when I need to attach a tile to the left of this on this side. So I need to take this attach point, make sure that I can see properly, and then I'm gonna drag it all the way to the left side here, just like that, so it's on the edge of the other one. Just kinda put it in the middle of it like this, and then I'm gonna take the lift attach point and attach it as a child object of my tile. And I'm just gonna duplicate the lift attach point here, duplicate, and I'm gonna place it in the top here, because that's also where we might add another tile when we random generate our game, just like that. And I'm just gonna name this one top attach point. So I need to place this attach point in the middle, and now my attach point is a child object of the main tile here, which means that these coordinates here are actually local coordinates within this transform here. So I can actually take this top attach point here and say that my C value should be 0.5, which means that it should be placed in the middle here somewhere. Let's see. And my X position here should just be 0. There we go. So let's see. And let's see it from the top again. Yeah, it looks fine. It looks like it's on the edge here. If anything, we can always adjust it a little if it doesn't fit later. So the same goes for the lift attach point here. So the lift attach point should be placed on 0 minus 0.05, which it is, and the C value here should basically just be 0. There we go. So now we have the middle on both places. So this is here it actually gets tricky, because if I would duplicate this tile here, you'll see that the tile's anchor point is in the middle of the tile. And let's say that we just spawned a new tile and we want to spawn it to the left of it. And when we would spawn that tile, the middle of this tile would be the anchor point, so it will be spawned half over it, the other one, like this, because this point here would go on top of this point here, which is our lift attach point. So we need to do something so that this point here can be moved all the way to the edge here, so we can attach them just like this instead. And this is exactly why we need two different tiles, because we need a tile with an attach point to the right, and we need a tile with an attach point in the bottom. So when we place a tile on top, it wouldn't be placed like this, but it will be placed like this instead. So we have an attach point here that attaches to this point. Hope this makes sense, else you'll see it in action in a few seconds. So how do we make a attach point in the side? Well, we are going to make another empty game object. So we're going to click create, and we are going to go to create empty. And this is basically going to be the correct tile, like the main tile. So I'm just going to click on this here, and I'm going to call this lift tile. So this is the tile that we will always spawn to the left of another tile. So this is the one we will grab whenever we need to spawn it to the left of the other tile. And when we've created that attach point, we should just place it kinda in the middle of this other tile here. So we have the lift tile, and we place it on the middle on the edge here. So we get the attach point kinda in the middle of this other tile. So what we can do now is that we can take this tile we just created, grab it, and then drag it underneath the lift tile. As you can see here, when I select the lift tile now, I have an attach point in the right side that I can move my tile around with here. So now I have an attach point in the right side of my my tile. So we need to do the exact same thing, just with a bottom tile, so that we can attach one tile to the top. So what I would do, I would just duplicate my lift tile here, and I'm gonna rename it on F2, and I'm just gonna call this one, what should I call this? Should I call, yeah, top tile. And I need to move this point, so basically I'm gonna take this tile underneath here, just drag it out, I can take the top tile here, and remember the attach point should be in the bottom, because that's where it needs to be attached. So I'm just gonna zoom in here so I can see I have it on the edge here. There we go. And then I'm gonna place it kinda in the middle just by looking at it here. We can always adjust this later if it doesn't fit. It looks fine. And then I'm gonna take the tile and put it back here. Good. So now we have a top tile and we have a lift tile. And I'm gonna create prefabs of these so that we can spawn them later, because every time we need to spawn something we should have a prefab so we can instantiate it. So I'm gonna right click here in my asset folder, click create, and make a new folder called prefabs, because prefabs or prefabricates are used for instantiating something. So when we need more of them, we can just call on that prefab and then instantiate it. So we can take the top tile and put it into prefabs to create a prefab, and we're going to do the same with the left tile. So now we have two tiles that we can use for instantiating. As we can see here, we have the correct attachment points. Yeah. So this one is basically going to be our first tile. So we're going to delete the top tile, so we don't have that anymore. And this one is just going to be our first main tile we run onto, and then we attach something to it in one of these two. So we're just going to click on this one, press F2, and we're just going to call this current tile for now. Okay, so now we need to create a script that actually spawns these tiles, and we're going to do this step by step so that you'll see why we are doing stuff and how everything works. Because we could just go to our script now and write all the code that made everything work exactly as it should, but I want to do it in steps so that you can see how we can use some different techniques to make an infinite runner. And these techniques should be usable in other situations, because we can easily make this work with some bad techniques that will make it very hard on the CPU on your device. But we're going to try to make this as effective as possible, or what should we say. So first of all, we need a new script. We need a script that handles all the tile creation and removal. So for now, it's just going to handle the tile creation. And we're just going to call this tile manager. So right click in your script folder and go to create, and then select a C# script. And I'm going to call this tile manager. So we need this script to go on a game object so that it can actually spawn some tiles in our game world. So click create and create empty, press F2 and call this tile manager. And then we might as well just attach our game object right away. So just drag it onto the tile manager here. So we got it attached to our game object, so we don't forget that later. So double click on your script to open it up. And then we need to access our prefabs. So let's just try with one side first, and then we can always rewrite this so that we can add more tiles. So let's just see if we can add the left tiles first. So make a public game object, and this public game object needs to have a name, and we should call this left tile prefab. And we also need to know which tile we're going to place this prefab next to. So we're going to create a variable called current tile, public game object, current tile, and this tile should be the tile that we place the next tile next to. So every time we place a tile, that tile is going to be our current tile, so that we can place it next one, next to this one. So then we should create a new function, I guess. Let's try that. So public void spawn tiles, or actually let's call it spawn tile, because we're only spawning one tile at a time. So in this function we need to spawn a new tile, and we can do that with the instantiate function, because instantiate takes a prefab and it adds it to our game world. So we can write instantiate, and then we need to tell it which object we want to instantiate, and the object we want to instantiate, just for now to test it, is our left tile prefab. So we can write left tile prefab, because that's our prefabricate we made of our left tile. And where do we want to instantiate? If we made a comma here, you'll see that we can get the position, and we need to get the position of this left attachment so that we can place our tile to the left of this this object here, this tile here, because that's our current tile, and we need to place it to the left of this. So how do we get this left attach point? Well, if we click on our tile manager, you'll see that we have two empty game objects here, and one of them is written current tile, and this is our current tile. So one of them needs to go there, so we can take our current tile, drag it all the way here, and place it here. So now we have a reference to our current tile so that we can access it from within our script and access its child elements. The next thing we need to do is to get the left tile prefab, because we need to instantiate it and we might as well just attach it already. So it asks for the left tile prefab, and we can just drag it up here so we have it in place. When we've done that, we can go back into our game, because as you can see here, we have our current tile which we can access, and we need to access the first child with index 0. So this is child 0, and that child 0 here, to get this left attach point. If we would want to access the top attach point, we should say current tile that get child 0 that get child 1, because this is 0 and this is 1, and you'll see how it works right now. So the position is current tile that get that transform that get child. So get child 0 right now. As for this line, we are actually right here, this is child 0, and we need to make dot transform the get child again to get this one. So we can say dot transform dot get child 0, and as this line has been written, well, we are actually on this left attach point here, and we need to get the position of the left attach point, so that's dot position, and we need to make a comma more because it wants a rotation and we don't want to rotate our object. So to get a neutral rotation, we need to write quaternion dot identity. So quaternion dot identity is just a standard rotation. Okay, so right now we just instantiated our tile. Let's try to save this and just run this one time. In start, say spawn tile, and we're gonna save this, jump back into Unity, and let's see what happens. And we got one tile spawned here, as you can see. Yes, so we want to spawn more tiles, and to do that we need to set our current tile. So every time we spawn a new tile, the last tile we spawned should be our new current tile, so we can take that tile next time and spawn the next tile next to that one. So to make sure that this one is equal to the last tile we just spawned, we can say current tile equals all this instantiation. So now it's going to complain and say that you can't cast or you need to cast actually can't convert a Unity Engine game object to a Unity Engine object, because this one apparently returns a Unity Engine object. And to make sure that we can change this object here to a game object, we simply need to make a cast here. So we're just going to write game object, and now we just changed our Unity Engine object into a game object, which this current tile is. As you can see up here, it's written game object. So now it doesn't complain anymore. So let's try to spawn 10 tiles. Gonna make a for loop here, and we want that for loop to run 10 times. Let's save and jump back into Unity. And if you don't know, a for loop is just a loop that runs an X amount of times, starts with 0, and it runs as long as I is less than 0, which is until less than 10, and it raises 1 with 1, adds 1 to I every time it runs. So it's gonna add 1 first time it runs at 0, next time it's 1, and at some point it's gonna be 10, and then it's gonna stop running. So if we run this, we should place 10 tiles, boom, and as you can see, we have 10 tiles in a straight row right now, and we can run off the edge here at the end. We also need to be able to place our tiles on top, so let's just give it a try and see if we can place those. So we have left tile prefab, and we also need a public game object top tile prefab. So let's just see if we can place them instead. So instead of the left tile prefab, we are gonna go to our spawn tile and change the prefab that we're spawning to a top tile, so we place the top tile instead. And we need to get the correct attach point, because as you can see, if we save this and run our game right now, oh sorry, need to attach it of course. Let's click our tile manager and take our top tile and add it here so we don't get a null reference. And let's run it again. You'll see that it places them weird because it takes the let's see here. It takes the attach point here and it attaches it to the lift point. So it is actually correct what's happening. It takes this point in the middle and it tries to attach this to the attach point it got, and the attach point it got was sitting right there on the lift, so you can see it's square on here. We're not interested in that because we're losing a lot of space on our row. We could actually play our game and run this row here. It's gonna be a little hard maybe, but we could run it without dying. But we want to place our tiles on top here so that it looks better, so we get more space. And to do that, we need to jump back into our script and we need to add get child 1 here. So we are gonna make some functionality that picks this by itself at random, but for now we just need to test that everything works. So if we jump back here, you'll see that child 0 is lift attach point and child 1 is the top attach point. So if I saved, I can't remember if I saved, I'm just gonna do it again. And if we run our game, you'll see that our tiles are placed on top. So as you can see, there is a little problem here. It's placed a little to the right, so we need to move our top attach point a little, so that it doesn't go out of line here. As you can see, it's a little too much to the right. So we can basically just fix that by either moving the top attach point or just moving the tiles normal point here. But let's see, let's just move the top attach point, it's easier. So we have our current tile. Let's just see, we had our current tile is it was just a lift tile, I think. Yes, yeah, it's a tile with that. So I'm just talking to myself, sorry. We need to take our top tile, and in our top tile we need to take the top attach point, and just gonna run this again just to see how much I need to move it. It's a little too much to the right, so we need to move it a little to the left. So we're just gonna enable this again. We're gonna take the top attach point and we're gonna zoom in very much, and then we're gonna move it a little to the left, just like that. And then we're gonna take the top tile and put it back into the prefab. Delete this, and let's see if it fits a little better now. Yeah, it fits a little better. So this is basically what you need to do. You need to adjust it until it fits. So later when we place our tiles, we would need to adjust everything so it fits perfectly. As you can see, this is a lift tile. This is the lift tile, and the top attach point here is a little too much to the right, so we can adjust that to the left.